Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Media Buffet podcast. My name is Matthew Fletcher, and I'm your co-host.
And I'm your other co-host, Kendall Barnes.
And today, we're going to be giving you our top 10 projects of 2022. The previous podcast, we went over our top video games of 2022, and we're continuing the theme with the music projects, sorry. And we're also going to be mentioning some honorable mentions and also some artists we think everybody should be on the lookout for. But before we get into it, be sure you follow us on all of our social media at Media Buffet Pod. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. And if you have any concerns or questions, be sure to email us at mediabuffetpod@gmail.com. So with that, I think we're ready to get into it. Like I said, we're going to be going over our top 10 projects, not necessarily albums. So you want to explain that a little bit?
We want to do albums at first, but albums is extremely limited. So we moved it to projects. So a project could be an EP, a tour, like if somebody had a tour last year. Didn't Dreamfest go last year?
Yeah, Dreamfest had a big event. Yeah.
So Dreamfest would count. I think I said EPs, but just like as long as it was more than a single and there was like promotion building up to it, that would count as a project. So that we just felt that was more a more umbrella list to make instead of just doing albums. Because again, mixtapes. I think Grammys even count mixtapes now, so we decided to add mixtapes in. But then some people, at least on our level, EPs are like the way to go. So
yeah, like
any project that released.
Yeah, Chance the Rapper won for his mixtape, a Grammy.
Was that this year or last year though?
No, that was in the past.
Yeah, I was about to say. Okay, I thought that was this year. I was about to say, oh God.
But yeah, if you haven't heard from us a little before, we're Media Buffet Podcast, as we say, but we also have in-depth experience with music and music production and writing. So we're kind of giving you guys our perspective on our favorites and things from the year. Oh yeah, I guess we should say our our group. We're in a group together and we're called Lack Thereof. And yeah, I don't know how to phrase that.
Yeah, it's not a doozy, but it's just like, what's the classification there? We're two dudes who make music.
Yeah,
in a group.
Yeah,
a duo. Rap, hip hop, or alternative hip hop. We'll let you classify and be the judge on that one. But it's not like, oh, this is last year or even this week type thing. We've been doing this for 7.5 years.
Yeah,
give or take.
Yeah, and I produce predominantly for our group, so I'm maybe give you a little.
You produce because I haven't produced anything, so
well,
predominantly means
he's picked out samples for me. But yeah, so I'll be giving you a little insight maybe to the production and stuff like that.
And look, man, if it sounds good, I like it.
Hey, man,
I'm not about to get all philosophical on you. But as long as it makes sense, it's not no nursery rhyme skill level type shit. I'm gonna fuck with it. So you want to go first?
Okay, yeah, I'll start it off. So these are, like we said, projects and rollouts basically. Mine predominantly just was albums though, because that's what I listen to mostly, and it's just for my list, it's just things I have on repeat constantly, and that's kind of how my criteria is, like if it's good enough to keep going back to. So starting off at number 10 is a project. It's an album called The Car, and it's by the Arctic Monkeys. Now, I mean, yeah, Kendall's a little surprised at that pick, but I'm really into alternative rock as well. Hip hop is my main thing, but I'm really into alternative music as well. And Arctic Monkeys does it the best to me. It's a really standout project. They've started this new style, the lead singer, and he kind of follows the same theme, and it's like lounge music in a way, but it's like there's a lot of pain in it, and it's a really good project, and I really enjoyed my time with it.
I mean, I know of Arctic Monkeys, but I did not know they had an album, let alone they released one this year.
2022.
So,
2022.
I can't, or yeah, last year, excuse me. So I can't even. My cousin manually listens to the Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
Um, this one's probably gonna be a weird one for you. I mean, I do this thing on Instagram where I post like at least it's either the song that's in my head for the day, or I just shuffle through either my Spotify or my Apple Music playlist, and it's like the first one to come up.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, I get bangers. Sometimes I don't. But I try to post it on my Instagram story, so people can. Oh, you don't ever put me on the music, or when I hear people bumping stuff and they don't like it, or then when somebody else plays it that I put the other person onto, they'll oh, this is great. I've always liked it. Anyway, my number 10 is KC and his album Get Used to It. I actually stumbled across this one. It was one song and I forget what it was. I like honestly, these were in 2022 last year, and my memory is already not the best. But
Yeah, same here.
so I probably can't tell you like an album or not an album, a single off of the album. But I know I was introduced to it last year through Spotify. I actually do go and check my Discover Weekly, and one of his songs was in there, and I liked it, so I listened more to the album, and then I posted a song on my Instagram, and then somebody told me, "Oh yeah, man, you put me onto this song. It was pretty good." And I listened again to the album, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, it was pretty good." It's mainly like hype music. I wouldn't call it trap or
Yeah, what genre
rap
would you say it is?
rap hip hop.
Rap.
I couldn't define it other than just hype music. Like you know what the I know he this artist was featured on Kanye's Donda 2, but I guess
Oh,
that's why
really?
I guess that's why Spotify put him on my radar. But it's like hype music. It's kind of like Migos, kind of not. More likely, I'm rambling here, but he sounds like Playboy Cardi, if that makes sense. Because I don't know what I would classify him as, so I would say he sounds more like this artist.
I'm not.
But
Yeah,
it was a good album. If I had to rate it out of 10, again it's pretty low here, but that's why it's number 10. If I had to rate it 6 out of 10, again, it wasn't like phenomenal, but I think this was this artist either his debut album or just like it's like second or third. And I could be wrong, but like again, I got recommended this through Spotify, Discover Weekly. And I don't usually check these artists like whole discography or nothing like that, but from what I heard, I liked it. 6 out of 10.
I mean that's cool. That's a cool thing about music. You know, we might find projects that's not the best, but for some reason it catches our ear and we just keep going back to it. So I think that's a good choice. I'm not really familiar with him. He was on Donda too, though.
Yeah,
Okay, I I,
featured
I
artist.
probably heard him then, and I just didn't know who it was.
Yeah, like I probably couldn't even point his voice out in the lineup, but he was credited as either a writer or an artist on the actual song. That's as far as I know.
Hmm. Cool, cool.
Let me look that up.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into my number nine. My number nine pick for project of the year is Herbert by Ab Soul. This is probably the newest entry on my list. Um, Ab Soul came back after I don't know how long of a hiatus, but it was like 15 years or something. I want to say since his last project. I've never dove deep into Ab Soul's music. What I've heard, I know he's very talented, but some of his music just wasn't for me, you know. But he's a very talented lyricist, and this album really put it up there for me of like how talented he is. He could be gone this long and still put out music that is current. His production choices on this was just so good. I love all the jazz samples, and he's just doing his thing on it, and it's a really good listen if you haven't listened to it before. Have you heard this one?
No, I didn't listen to Absol at all this year, man.
Well, it
I
just
have
came
not.
out. It just came out like I want to say a few weeks ago at the time of
Few
recording.
weeks ago. Okay.
But
I
yeah,
heard he
it's
released because he did an interview saying he was kind of not mad, but he
yeah,
understood, but he was a little upset of why Kendrick left Top Dog. But
yeah.
I didn't hear anything about the album, and to be honest, I was never that big a Ab-Soul fan. Like I love when he works with Black Hippy,
Yeah, that's what
but
I'm saying too. Like, I was introduced to him through like freshman freestyle, double XL freshman ciphers, and his ciphers are always amazing, and he's a great lyricist, and he has different wordplay from anybody else. But this is the first time I listened to an album of him, and I'm like, wow, that's an album. You know what I mean? It's very cohesive, top to bottom. There's about there's a few skips here and there for me, but I think it's like a 16 track album. So not bad, really. It's a really good listen.
That just reminded me when you said that. Wow, that's not now that's what I call music. Like those things.
Yeah,
Yeah, I might have to go back and listen to it.
yeah, because he's
Cause I,
always been
I didn't hear it.
he's always been like the underdog, top dog, but that's just because he don't really release music like that, and he's not mainstream success like Kendrick was. But yeah, he really did his thing on this album.
So my number 9 would have to be Saba, Few Good Things.
What?
Uh
Oh wow.
yeah, so this album and I think the Earth Gang album released the same day because I remember I was at work and I was like, damn, I'm on
Ghetto
or damn, I
Gods.
gotta listen
Yeah.
to both of these albums. Um so I mean I listened to it. I liked one more than the other. Uh and that's why he's at number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Um I still liked it. I like Saba as an artist, but it just, it wasn't what I expected from him, and
No,
especially
yeah.
2022, there was a lot of great albums, so,
Yeah,
you
dude.
know,
Maybe like 2017 or something you'd have up higher.
maybe, maybe,
That
but,
yeah.
I wouldn't say I was disappointed, but, like, I was expecting more, so
And that's kind of his own fault after his debut album Care for Me, which is just a classic at this point. I recently just picked it up on vinyl. Do you have anything else to say about Saba's album?
no, that was like I said, I expected more, he didn't deliver, not disappointed, but, it is where it is on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9.
Yeah, it didn't even make my list, which is hard for me because I love Saba, man. I think he's talented and has a lot of promise in his future. All right, but going into number 8, I got Louis by Kenny Beats. Yes, it's an instrumental mostly project, but it's just so cohesive, top to bottom, flawless in my opinion. I think it's a great album. It probably would have been higher in my list if there was more vocals, but as a concept and overall, it was very well done. And Kenny Beats is, he's thriving right now. He's a very popular producer, very in demand, but I mean for a good reason. The beats he put up, the production and beats he put up on his solo album Louis is some of the best instrumentals I heard all year. His drums and the bass that he uses is like the punchiest bass out of any producer I hear. So it's very, very good. It has some really good features from Slow Tie, and then it also has JPEG Mafia featuring and some vocalists that he doesn't have listed. But overall, man, I was just very shocked. I put it on just for the background, and I just fell in love with it. And I still have it in rotation ever since it came out while I'm cooking or whatever. I just put it on.
Let him cook.
Let him cook.
Okay, so my number 8, shocker, Earth Gang Ghetto Gods. Like I said, I like one more than the other. They came out the same day.
I
Uh,
agree.
I
Yeah.
forget what the title is called, but the song they had with Future. I
Dude.
don't even like Future
Yeah,
like
I
that.
don't either, but that
But
one bangs.
and I wouldn't say I don't like Earth Gang like that, but like they're definitely not on my go-to everyday playlist. But
No.
this album was like I didn't expect that from them. This was a great album.
Yeah,
I
man.
honestly would have placed it higher, but like from my top 5 down the list, I can't move those. So it was, and then who I have at number 6 is who I have. I could have easily switched it maybe with number 7,
Hmm.
but I feel like this genre of music, like I'll get into it on the next one, but basically it's interchangeable with number 7, but I place number 7 at number 7 because of the genre and just because like this artist, as you'll see in the next spot for me, is just phenomenal.
Man, yeah. Earth Gang really surprised me with that album. That was a really good album out of nowhere. Unfortunately, it didn't make my top 10. Like, but 20, I mean, 2022 was crazy for music.
Stacked.
It's
It
been
was
like,
stacked.
it's one of the best years for music in a while, I think. Probably since 2018. But great album, great album. My number 7, like Kendall was saying, these next 3 for me are pretty interchangeable given on the day. But my number 7 is 2000 by Joey Badass. I really, really love this project. There's not one bar on here that he has that I think is lazy or anything. Joey is so talented as a lyricist, and man, I think he should be up there more in conversation when people are talking about talent of like this generation. Because you always hear Kendrick, Cole, and I guess Drake, but But really, man, Joey is just he's on a different level, man. He is so good. His beat selection on this was amazing. There's only one song that I skip, and it's the one with Chris Brown. And that's just a personal preference. I'm not really a Chris Brown fan. His voice gets on my nerves. I just never been a fan. So
Oh
hot
man,
take maybe, but hey.
hot take,
But
smoldering. Jesus Christ.
hey, it's my opinion. But yeah, man, this this was a sequel to his classic mixtape 1999, and I think he did flawless following it up, and he's got some really really highs on this album.
Yeah. It didn't make my list, but no, it
Different
didn't.
tastes.
Uh,
That's why we're doing this.
no, it's not that. It's just like it probably would have been number 12 or somewhere on that list because Nas didn't even make the list, and I love Nas.
Mine neither.
King Disease 2 was way better than 3, but I love 3. But my number 7, Ravina, Asha's Awakening. I love this woman.
I don't know that one.
I love her. Check out the go-to song that I always recommend people is Honey.
Honey.
So it's Ravina, Raveena. Wonderful artist. I don't like to compare her to anybody, but if I would, her area of specialty or expertise is similar to like her and Janae Aiko. It's just like
Oh,
her voice
okay.
is freaking majestic, and I
Mm.
love it.
It's like
Uh,
ethereal. Yeah.
yes, yes. If we could play music for like a split second and you could hear it, you'd know what I'm talking about. But I don't want to risk that strike, so you just have to check it out on your own time. But even like I know this is like kind of nitpicky, but like her choice for album covers, and especially this
Mm.
one, I mean, God, she's just phenomenal. And again, like I said, a lot of this list is like dominated by like hip hop rap. So I wanted to have some R&B influences spots on here. I kind of regret not putting her higher, but like I said,
There was just so
my
much good
top
music,
five.
man. So much.
It's not even that. My top five is not interchangeable. So she's at number 7.
Man, great pick. I don't know that one, and I always like finding out new music. But I'm very an album cover person myself too, so that's it draws you in, you know. All right, my number 6. Don't don't kill me, okay? Because I know this is probably in your top two. I'm scared. Denzel Curry, melt my eyes to your future. And Kendall is obsessed with that album, so I know he's gonna kill me. But it's a great album, best project from Denzel by a country mile. Like I said, these 5, 6, and 7 are very interchangeable for me on the day. This one is probably higher. Like at the beginning, near the end of the year, I had this at number 2 for like the whole time. But the more I listened to these other albums on the list, the more I enjoyed them. But I think what Denzel did on this record is very impressive. He's probably got it's like top 2 songs of the year with Walkin', and the video too. That video is amazing. Why are you shaking your head?
These next artists better have top 3 songs on the day on the list because
I'm
I need to know what trumps
I
it.
am a
I need to
project.
know.
I'm so this is based on my enjoyability and how much I've revisited it. So these next projects I notice I revisit way more often. And I love the Denzel project, but there's certain it only has same thing, like one skip for me. And depending on the day, it might not even be a skip.
No skips for me, pal.
It's a great record, and I love the direction that he's gone in with this album. It's like I hope he sticks with this and keeps continuing to improve on this sound because it's so unique and it's really good. But I mean, I just think the ones that I have above this, I just go back to way more because okay, I might not even think this next album on my list is a better overall album. It's just my enjoyability in to myself. You know what I mean? And I'm a little
We'll,
biased.
we'll see. Yeah, sounds like it, pal.
I love
We'll
it. I
see.
have it on vinyl, and like I said, any given day, this could have been number 2,
Except today, though, right?
except for today. Yeah. I got the vinyl right over here, but I love it. I
Anyway,
love it.
number 6, West Side Boogie, More
Barbecue
Black
foot
Superheroes.
lettuce. Huh?
It's number 15.
That's what? You have it that
Yeah,
high? Great, man.
yeah, it's great. I love it.
I'm impressed.
I've never heard anything from this artist before this album. This one like randomly, I don't even know how. Apple suggested it. I guess it was newly released or something like that. It's like,
I
okay,
also
well,
told
it
you to
was.
listen to it, but hey, Apple's more important. That's cool.
I don't remember you saying that, and if you did, it was definitely after I listened to it. But when I turned it on, I was working. Usually when these albums drop on a Friday, I think most of these did. Or like that's just commonplace. So I usually work on Friday, so you'll hear me say, "Oh, I was at work Friday." But that's usually when I listen to new music because I'm gonna have to be at one place for like an extended period of time. So why not listen to music? So I listened to it. Phenomenal album. I love his interludes and just like the
Dude,
storytelling throughout
yes.
the
Yeah.
album.
His interludes are
I
top.
definitely want to hear. I definitely want to hear more from this artist, seeing as this was like my first introduction to him. But actually, I guess that was a lie. I seen a Colors performance he did,
Yeah.
and I think that's probably what got me. That and the Apple thing that got me to watch or listen to his album. But the album art wasn't that bad either. It was great.
No, it's cool. It's a very cool concept, and he's actually signed to Marshall Mathers to Records. I forget what they is that what it's called? His record label?
Who? Marshall Mathers?
Yeah, isn't it called Marshall Mathers Records or something?
I thought it was Shady Records.
Shady Records. I'm so stupid.
Wow,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
wow.
yeah. Eminem's label.
He really don't fuck with Eminem.
I told you I don't be listening to him like that, but yeah, he discovered him and through YouTube, I think, a video, and he signed
Oh
him.
man.
Yeah, but West Side Boogie don't get enough attention, man. He's very talented. You got anything else to add about that album, sir?
Nah. I'll start actually like delving deep into these once I get to the top 5. Well,
He
I guess the
all right.
next
Don't get mad at me.
I'm gonna get mad
You
because
don't. I
I
don't
want to
think you
know
even
what
like
trumps.
this album, but I think my enjoyability is way
Uh,
more. I am very biased to this artist. He is one of
if
my
you, oh,
what?
you said he, so I know it's not what I'm thinking of.
He's one of my favorite artists. Like in the recent years, like I'm just obsessed with everything he does. It's so new. Number 5, "Love for Rent" by Smino. Smino, yeah, yeah. You know, oh my god, Smino. It's amazing. Amazing. Everything he does is just catchy, and he's like at top level of like flow and cadence. I don't there's not a lot of people that with him like that. And I, I you can't laugh at me. These are my
No,
picks.
I'm laughing because I can think of one.
Nah, he can't with them on flow.
Enzo. Yeah.
On flow, hell no. You don't listen to enough Smino. Bars,
No, you're crazy.
bars though. Oh yeah, Denzel easy.
You're crazy.
And like I said, Denzel's album I think is a better concept and overall like better album because it's stuck with the theme. But I had this Smino album a lot lower, but just the more I sit with it, the more I come back to it. I listen to it almost every day, just a bunch of songs. No L's. I think that is way. I think that's like top 2 song of the year as well. So catchy. Nobody makes music like him. The thing that's really cool from like a producer side of it is the way Smino layers his vocals. There's no artist that does that, and since he's been gaining traction, more and more people has been doing that. But his layering, go back to any song, his layering of vocals is just top notch. And he puts these really good ear candy bits in songs that make they get stuck in your head and you want to go back and listen. His producer that he's always working with, Monte Booker, he's my favorite producer ever because he's just like so inventive with sounds and drums. So yeah, that's my number 5.
My number 5 is the last R&B, at least wholly R&B. I guess it's R&B rap, but the last R&B section on my list is Brent Faiyaz, Wasteland.
Okay.
That was just a whole experience. From the interludes just to like the ending of the album, the whole thing kind of loops. But just the top, and I hated that like 3 of the songs were like singles he had released throughout the year, so you'd already heard them. Never been like replayed almost to death.
I hate when that they do that.
But like the album top to bottom was a masterpiece. It's just again very toxic. His whole album was about relationships and stuff like this. Now, again, I don't dive deep into the albums and the stories unless it's Kanye or something like that. So, I don't know if the storyline that he had going through this was based off real life, but God, I hope not, because
Mm.
again, I was working when I was listening to this, and Jesus Christ, what is that? Working when I was listening to this, and I had to stop. It was just like toxic as hell. I was like, bro, why would you put this in an album interlude? It was on some damn Eminem Kim type shit,
Oh
bro.
my god.
And it just came out of nowhere. You know, with Eminem, you expect it. It's rap, it's Eminem, but this was like fucking
Yeah.
R&B and shit. And I was like, my God.
Yeah, I think I remember you sent me that track because you were just like floored at like what the hell is this?
But it's just like I mean, I should have known better when the first song was called Villains. What was it? It's Villains theme.
Mm.
Like he was not playing around. But this was like a highly anticipated album for that year, and he definitely delivered. I'll tell you that.
Well, good pick, I guess. I don't know, but I'll check it out. But all right, my number 4 is Cheat Codes by Danger Mouse and Black Thought. It's a great record from two legends. I just happened to stumble upon it. People kept talking about it, but it wasn't really on my radar because I don't really keep up with Black Thought like that. But this sounds like a classic album in a modern era. He's got features on here. He's got the last ever MF Doom feature, and I'm a pretty big MF Doom fan, so that was big for me. Just the sound is so gritty, but it's modern at the same time. The drums are super punchy. He's got Joey Badass on here featuring on the same song with Russ. I know that's a weird thing, but overall, the album's just great from top to bottom. I don't think there's one skip for me. It's been in rotation ever since I picked it up.
I didn't listen to that. I didn't even know that released. Uh, but it might be something I check out. At least the MF Doom track. But yeah, my number 4, Kodak Black, Back for Everything. The
Whoa,
man
I did
released
not
two
expect that.
albums this year or that year, and my God, and you know who I have to thank for this? Donald Glover. He put the song on Atlanta's last season as
Oh
one of
yeah,
like
yeah,
the intro title cards.
yeah,
Like, that's twice he's picked Kodak.
yeah.
And you know, he was also Kodak Black had at least for this year, he was everywhere. He was on Kendrick's album.
In prison. Yeah.
Uh anyway, like I don't even know what to say. Aptly named album. I love the album art. I'm not a big Kodak fan. My brother is, but even I got to give this bro credit. I love the album. Now, I didn't like the second album he released that last year, but Back for Everything I think was his better album, and I'm kind of mad I didn't listen to it on time. Because he lost out on some awards for this album, which I mean I feel like he would have had a better chance if he'd just done a little bit more promotion, or some people would have been more open minded like myself. But again, shout out Donald Glover, shout out Kodak, because this album was phenomenal. I loved it. Again, Kodak was everywhere this year. He should have won. The song was in Atlanta. It was called "Let Me Know," the song that I was referring to earlier. It was just ear candy, man. It was perfect. I had that shit on replay, and I think when I looked at my Apple statistics, I played it like 700 something times. That's just how much the song was like 2 minutes. It was
Holy
short, so yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a short song, but it was good, and I just kept replaying like, God, bro, it was a really good.
700 though, bro.
Yes, I played songs longer than that. But yeah, so Kodak Black, Back for Everything is number 4 for me. And like I said, these 5 through 1 are not changeable. Like these are set in stone for me for at least 2022. So Kodak definitely earned his place up here. And when you see what I have as number 3, you're gonna be like, damn, why is he that close? And I'll go into further detail on why I think Kodak Black is just like he needs more credit.
Yeah. And people are starting to take notice too, I think, and giving them more chances. Yeah. My number 3 is a pick that I never thought would ever be on my list, ever. But it's amazing. I Didn't Mean to Haunt You by Quadeca. Yes, Quadeca the YouTuber. Believe it or not.
I don't know who that is. What the
I sent it to you. I told you. You will find out, believe me. Um, but this project is like nothing I've ever heard before. Quedeca self-produced everything, and he mixed the majority of it himself as well. But Quedeca was somebody I never took serious. He was just a YouTube person making like rap videos, and like he's very popular for doing those like guess the rapper based off of the flow and like production style, and he'd make them. But man, he's just changed my opinion, and obviously he's top three of my albums of the entire year, and I can't believe it either. But this project is so powerful and so dense in a good way. The production design and elements that Quedeca went with, I've never heard in my life before. He's just very in depth with this record, top to bottom, not a single skip. He doesn't have a whole lot of features. There's a few, but the standout is that he's got Danny Brown on here, and it's wild. You just gotta listen, because Danny Brown's rapping from the perspective of carbon monoxide, like killing a family. It's insane. And then he's also got the Sunday service gospel choir on here, so that's pretty awesome. It sounds heavenly. The what Quedeca was able to do with this project, man, it shouldn't be looked at as just like a YouTube album, because I think it's truly one of the best albums I've heard in a very long time. He stuck with the story the entire time. There's no like throwaway lines or anything. He's just in character the whole time. He even made an entire visual short film for this project that goes along with it on YouTube. So that's my number three. I didn't mean to haunt you by Quedeca. It's just like a genre blending
Out there.
masterpiece. Masterpiece. It's got rapping, singing. It's just ethereal, like we were talking about. It's just
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing.
We'll see. Number three. Sounds
He
out there.
laughs at my picks, but I don't judge him. I see how it is.
It's just weird.
Why?
But we said projects though. That was the key
Projects.
word. Projects and rollout. So
It is the album too, but it had like one of the craziest rollouts too.
I'll have to look all of that up
This
uh,
guy.
and compile it. But number three for me, most anticipated. Nobody expected the album to come out like this, and upon public reception, it was actually received, at least from what I heard, very poorly. Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Yeah, people didn't like it because of how personal the album was. Uh, I liked it for what it was. I could understand the messages and stuff like that. When like this album had a lot of things that I could relate to, that I understood. It was just perfect, and I think we can go into this list later. But this definitely changes my top five Kendrick albums, like the order
Mm,
and everything like
yeah,
that.
same here, same here.
This was a great album for Kendrick, and I love the fact that he had Kodak Black. Here he comes
Yeah, yeah,
again,
yeah.
Kodak Black in the album. And there was something I really noticed. This doesn't really pertain to, I guess, projects or rollouts. Well, it kind of does because I have this in my honorable. But I've noticed this generation, or at least our generation's top two rappers, j.cole and Kendrick Lamar,
Yeah, yeah.
have took on disciples, if you will. Whereas Kendrick took on Kodak and j.cole took on 21 Savage.
Yes, yes. That
I
I
just
noticed that as
I just
well.
love that. So that's why I said you'll see when my top three is revealed why I put Kodak Black so high. Honestly, if it weren't for this, I probably wouldn't have gone back and checked out a lot more Kodak stuff. Because, like I said, when Kodak Black was on the Atlanta thing, I just checked out that song and maybe one other song off that album. But after Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, I went back and looked at a lot of Kodak stuff. I'm not a fan of everything, but definitely, I respected a lot more of his discography, if that makes sense.
That makes sense,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, and
but yeah, so I have
it's
Kendrick
cool.
Lamar at number three.
Man, great pick. And it is really special, I think, that the two biggest rappers, like he said, like that we put on the pedestal is Kendrick and J. Cole. And it's cool that they're taking these two other artists under their wings, and teaching them stuff. So very cool. My number two is The Forever Story by JID. Now, I've always loved JID and his flow and everything, but his albums just weren't hitting for me. But this album, man, it's just there's not a single miss. Like he, man, he's one of the best of this generation of flowing, and his storytelling is on a whole nother level. And he signed to j.cole, and I see why. But I think this album finally let him get out from underneath j.cole's shadow, and he's like proven himself as his own artist. You know, he's not just like, oh, this guy signed to j.cole, he's good. Now it's just like this is JID, and he's amazing. So this is like an album of albums. You know what I mean? Like top to bottom, super cohesive. Live instrumentation is always a huge plus for me. I think it just draws you in as a listener more. So is I'm just really impressed, man, and I think he's the next in line for this generation. You know what I mean? He's up there after Kendrick and Cole, and I think he's setting the standard.
I will say, there was a lot of, not speculation, but a lot of hype for this album coming out. And then when his single 2007 didn't get released along with the album as originally planned, everybody was mad about that, but eventually the sample got cleared. And I will say that addition did maybe change a little bit about my perception of the album, but I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like it.
Truth.
I didn't like the
That's
album.
okay. It's not even in your top 10, so obviously you didn't.
Yeah, I don't even have it in my recommendation. Like I liked his first album
That is
better than
crazy. Did you
this one.
not listen to Crack Sandwich, bro? Like,
I
God.
listened to the whole thing twice. You know, I listened to albums 3 times, but this one I could only stomach twice.
Woo.
And 2007 really made it for me. Like that was the
Yeah,
best song on
very good.
the album. So that's why I say it changed the whole perception, at least for me, of the album. But again, I it's not even number 11. It's maybe not even a 15.
Ooh. Yeah, we very different in that opinion because I think this is gonna be a classic. Looking back, um, and you know it's okay to have different opinions and stuff, but man,
Yeah, I
you're
will
wrong.
say it's
You're
probably
wrong.
uh-huh. I will say it's probably his standout album, like in terms of like defining his style. Because like again, 2007, that track blew me away. I'm not gonna lie to you. I may or may not have illegally obtained that single and added it to my Apple playlist as part of the album.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. Well,
it was a good
I
song.
think
It like
yeah,
good album. I like I said, it wasn't for me. I didn't like it, but I can respect the effort and everything that went in. And again, it was highly anticipated, I guess, for a reason. But I think his first album was better than this one, at least to me.
fair enough, fair enough. You know, I feel like it was definitely a standout for him and just of this year,
Oh
man.
yeah, I agree. It
Just
was definitely a
yeah,
standout, and it was definitely one of the better albums of this year. But I can't place it on the top
man,
10.
fair enough, but you're wrong. I will
Speaking
say
of
though,
wrong,
one more thing though before we switch. I will say this album is like one of the albums that I feel like are meant to be played in the car because I had a whole different listening experience from like I'm a person that's real private with music and listen by myself, but I had it in the car. Oh my god, dude, it was just like the bass was hitting. When he was on Crack Sandwich, you could hear every like tempo he was sounding. So that sounded weird, but yeah.
yeah, it did, but yeah, I understand. Number 2,
Number two.
you know what it
I
is.
know what it is.
Denzel Curry, Melt My Eyes. Not a single skip on that album. I don't know why you placed it so low. I don't know what the hell you were thinking. Not a single skip. I listened to this album day of release 5 times over.
Oh, I'm right
Day
there. Yeah.
of release. And you see where it's placed. It is above Kendrick.
I can't believe you
It is
don't
above
have it at
Kendrick.
one.
He had, who's at number 1? Undying Loyalty. But honestly, this was the best album. And again, we're basing it on rollout and anticipation too. So, but in terms of just strictly albums,
Mm-hmm.
Denzel had it. I don't know why he didn't win this year. And I feel like we're going to see another instance of when Kendrick lost to Macklemore, where an artist shuts down, hides himself away, and we're going to get one of the best projects to come after this one, because this was like a really defining moment for Denzel, because he had
Yes.
released
Yeah.
what was it, Blood In, Blood Out, or whatever, that mixtape on SoundCloud only. You couldn't get it anywhere. That was a phenomenal project. Then he had Unlocked with Kenny Beats, and then Unlocked 1.5, hit after hit after hit. He was working this or last year. Then he released that. Troubles. Oh my God. Single of the look at that. And he placed them that low. Look at that. But yeah, Troubles. I think that one I had 900 times and 300 something on Spotify. So it was
It's a
combined like a
great
thousand
song.
something.
It's a great album.
It was a great song.
It's a great
And
album.
then the song with Slow Tie, like you were saying, my God, it was an what was that? Shit. League of
Zatushi.
Legends are Arcane. My cousin, who doesn't even listen to hip hop, he produces and makes music himself. He's like, oh my God, have you heard this? He hit me up personally. He was like, yo, you've got to watch this show. I heard this song in it. I love the song. And I'm like, yes, that is Denzel Mother Curry. Put some respect on his name. And then there was another one. Honestly, the intro. The intro was fire.
Yeah.
But
What is
the
it?
whole album as a
Melt
whole,
My Dreams or something?
it was Melt My Eyes Session or something.
Session.
I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
remember the number, but it was Melt My Eyes Session. But the whole album, bro, just phenomenal. Again, listen to it 5 times on release. I was like the biggest spokesperson for this album, at least out of my friend group, Snapchat. I was like, hey, yo, listen to this. And my boy Aaron, he was like, I don't even listen to this guy, Denzel Curry, after he released Ultimate. And you know how long Ultimate has been released.
Oh God,
I
yeah.
am the one. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Denzel. This is the same person. So that should show you the growth. This man is one of the best artists out in this decade. He has like that freshman group was a bunch of sleepers. You had
Oh
Kodak,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uzi, this guy. And you know what's funny? Everybody's like, oh, Little Dicky's the best at it. Where's Little Dicky at now? You
Dave.
had a bunch of sleepers.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
People you did not expect to take off took off this motherfucking year. And I really take back my initial statements of that XXL freshman list because I was like, oh, this is dog water. They didn't take this serious. And maybe that still holds some truth. But in terms of talent, it's like the Pokemon Reggie. What is it? The big one, not Register, Regirock. What is it? God, I can't think of it, but he had to move slow start. Regigigas, slow start. And they all had a slow start, but
Yeah, they
it
did.
hit.
It wasn't
This was the best album of the year.
but he's got it at number 2 cuz yeah.
Because of the rollout. You got to also take into account anticipation, hype, and rollout. There was hype and anticipation mainly from Denzel fans. And then you had like the aftermath of the release, which everybody got hype after the fact. But I'm talking initial rollout and just like presentation. Number one is number one because of who he is, what he did. Again, I don't want to spoil it, so I'm going to leave it at that. But yeah, you'll see why I have them at number one.
And I couldn't agree more. This is definitely one of the best albums of the year. And like I said, it was the number 2 for me since it came out. Like as soon as it came out, me and him were both addicted to it. I immediately ordered the vinyl. I have the vinyl. I love the album. It's just, replayability. Sometimes I go back to other stuff and I just preferred other stuff. But nothing to take away from it. It's a standout album. It's his classic, and if he keeps up with this kind of style in production, I think it's a. I don't understand how I do, but the Grammys didn't even acknowledge this man. Didn't even put him in the category, and it's because
Like I said,
yeah,
we're not getting the same Denzel after this.
no, the Grammy, and he was heated after he found out he wasn't even nominated. He went on like a rampage on Twitter, just like saying it doesn't matter and all this stuff, and you know, but if he deserved to be acknowledged, but you can't really on my opinion because you didn't even have JID's album on here, and that's like
It wasn't as good as the first. It really wasn't.
what?
2007 saved the album. It did.
Nah, nah,
Yeah.
nah. I mean, you could tell that song was meant to be there though. Like he had all that in there. Amazing. But all right, that's we're gonna go into our honorable mentions before we say our number ones. Right?
We'll count back down first.
You want to count back? Should we say honorable mentions first though?
Oh no, because the honorable mentions, or at least how I had my. Well, you do it how you do it. I'm gonna do mine how I do it. But yeah.
You lead the way then. I want to see what you're talking about.
All right, yeah, because okay, so no, my number 10 was KC, Get Used to It. Number 9 was Saba, Few Good Things. Number 8 was Earth Gang, Ghetto Gods. Number 7 was Ravina, Asha's Awakening. Number 6, West Side Boogie, More Black Superheroes. Number 5, Brent Fayez, Wasteland. Number 4, Kodak Black, Back for Everything. Excuse me. Number 3, Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And number 2, like I just said, Denzel Curry, Melt My Eyes. Now my honorable mentions: Dreamville, D-Day,
Mm.
stick hit, bro. That shit was so. And I know it's
It's
Jid.
just
I know if that was on his album, I probably would have put it on the list.
it's
But that was a Dreamville
wild, bro.
project.
Yeah.
That shit was like I don't even like Dreamville like that, but like they all killed it. Like really every time they get in the studio, the what was it, Revenge of the Dreamers, all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Dream like they kill it every time.
Every time.
But like all those artists separate, I usually don't like. But whenever they get together, it's like phenomenal. And it was like I forget which song it was, but obviously it's the one with Earth Gang in it. But you can tell the song Earth Gang had in this compilation was meant to be, or it was a scrap off of their album Ghetto Gods. So I kind of like, and it also reminded me of J.Cole's album. So I know why I made this thing. It reminded me of For Your Eyes Only. They made us they were doing an interlude in the song or something like that, and it just tackled the same emotion and like the theme of J. Cole's album. So Dreamville D-Day is up here on my honorable mentions.
Great pick.
My second one, Kenny Mason, Roughs. This one flew under the radar for me. I remember it releasing, and then I remembered it was in my Spotify stuff, but it wasn't that memorable. But this is to me is what everybody expected Kendrick's album to sound like, because they were like, oh, he's doing rock influences this time around, and he did not go for the rock influences. But to me, this is what it sound people expected Kendrick's album to sound like. And then the last one, speaking of Kendrick, Baby Keem, The Melodic Blue, a great
I
album.
forgot that came out
That's
this year. I mean 2022.
yeah, yeah, great album. It was the one, I think there was a song with Frank Ocean, and there was another one I liked, but great album. It's just I want him to live up more to that potential, and that's why you really can't say I'm related to this person in the industry, because then everybody's gonna expect it from you. So uh, going off of that,
It's really difficult with him though, because it's like
yeah,
you're
it's
related
Kendrick.
to Kendrick Lamar, one of the greatest artists of the generation. So
Yeah, it sucks
I
to be
hate
in
to
that
be in his
position. I would have
shoes.
never said I was his cousin. But I mean, again, for like, I don't think this was his debut album, because I think it was what Orange Soda Baby was his first one or something like that. But
I thought those were more mixtapes. More like
well, again, this would still count as his debut because we're
no,
counting mixtapes too.
no,
So
yeah, yeah.
either way, again, I don't think that was his intro, and there's probably more that's underground. But a great introduction to the artist, I'll say that. But number one, this should be no surprise if you know me in real life. Kanye West, Donda 2. He had the 3-part documentary on Netflix.
It's
Again, I
not.
don't agree with his his recent fiasco and speech. But as far as rollouts, the stem player, the um the live stadiums in the Mercedes the shows and stuff. He even brought Kim. I don't know why she agreed to it, but she came back momentarily in her wedding dress or whatever for the song's reveal. All the artists that were involved, and then just like the rollout and anticipation, everybody was on that. They were breaking Apple's platform.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, it ain't started yet. It ain't started yet. Need I say more? It was most anticipated, most watched. And had he not shot himself in the foot, he probably could have did this again. But as far as the album, and this is where I hate it, but the album was mid.
You
Yeah,
hate it.
the album was mid.
But
The
it's your
album was mid
favorite? That I just don't agree,
because
bro.
I'm accounting the rollout. Everybody was waiting on it.
Okay,
He broke the
if we're
platform.
talking just rollout, yeah, obviously it's Kanye West. Every time he releases the album, it's like it's mesmerizing. You want to tune in. I'll never forget. I stayed up all night trying to watch the People of Pablo release.
No, no, no. The Life of Pablo.
Oh, I said
Yeah,
that. My bad. I said that because his username is,
that's my username.
and I'm so used to seeing it. But yeah, Life of Pablo. Yeah, I stayed up all
Yeah,
night. I got a free trial of Tidal just to watch it and listen to the songs. Yeah.
you know how big a fan I am. I didn't stay up to wait because I had school the next day. We all had school. Somebody was pirating that, and it was probably his cousin with that laptop. So I downloaded those tracks and listened to it like that. So I heard Wolves the way it was intended to be
Oh
heard.
God, Wolves.
The first version of Ultralight Beam, and it was the other one. I hated the Charlie Heat version of it, but I forget what it was. But yeah, I love that version that I heard. Kanye has a lot of great unreleased tracks, but like I said, it's up high on the list because the album is not a 2 out of 10. If anything, it's probably like a 5 out of 10, which is still good for an album. It's but it's not good for Kanye. But
No, yeah.
again, the album's not low on the list because it sucks. It's just not his best work.
Like, yeah,
But
it's not his best work. It just feels incohesive to me. Like he's just got
well,
ideas
to be
everywhere.
fair, that's how everybody initially received Yeezus, and then now you're hearing all
Nah,
of a
this
sudden,
is
oh my
different.
God, we just couldn't comprehend it. We said the same things. Only time will tell.
I guess, but this one sounds familiar. Like he was doing like a whole new thing. It was almost like a new genre. But this feels very familiar, and it's like he just I feel like Kanye will rush stuff. Like he'll say, "Okay, I'm gonna put this out," but he don't have it done. So he just obviously he lived there while they were doing the album, and like the people were like held hostage. They couldn't go home and.
Well, here's another thing. Technically, Donda 2 never officially released on streaming
That's right.
platforms.
Yeah.
It released only on the stem player.
Hmm.
So if you didn't like what you heard, it was because you weren't playing the stem player the way you wanted to hear it. And anything
For Donda
online
too.
isn't
Yeah.
technically the right thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I said Donda 2 is the one I'm putting for, not Donda.
Hmm.
Donda 2, because the rollout for Donda 2 was more anticipated. He broke the streaming platform.
What's
So I mean that alone should tell you.
what's that sample you love on Donda? The
The Gib go
yeah
Gib go Gib Gigalab or
yeah
whatever.
yeah yeah.
Simply delicious. Oh my
I
God.
mean,
Nobody else could pull that off.
I, I think
Nobody else could pull that off.
it's hilarious. I am not surprised by that pick at all. I knew it before we even started this. I didn't even have to ask you what's your favorite. I know. But now I will say it's a spectacle every time he releases something, and nobody does rollouts like him, and it was amazing. All right, so going back to mine. To recap, my number 10 was The Car by Arctic Monkeys. Number 9 was Herbert by Absol. Herbert the pervert. 8
No, you can't say
it's
that.
8 was Louis by Kenny Beats. Great album. Number 7 was 2000 by Joey Badass. Number 6, Melt My Eyes See Your Future, Denzel Curry. Number 5, Love for Rent by Smino. Number 4 was Cheat Codes by Danger Mouse and Black Thought. Number 3, I have I Didn't Mean to Haunt You by Quedeca. And number 2 was The Forever Story by JID. Amazing album. Only one could beat it. All right, but my honorable mentions. I have so many honorable mentions. I've listened to a ton of music this year. But my first honorable mention is More Black Superheroes by West Side Boogie. This guy, I mean, he's got so much potential, and I think it is a great album. It's just his first album, kind of like Saba, they put out classics in my opinion. So his first album, Everything's for Sale, just set the bar so high for him. And I really like More Black Superheroes and the concept of it, but it didn't stick out as much to me this year because it was just a stacked year. Like any other year, it probably would have been in my top 10. My second record, honorable mention, my bad, is The Family by Brockhampton. I had to get this in there somewhere. I'm a huge Brockhampton fan. It's
I'd argue the biggest.
maybe so. Yeah, they're just, man, I've always just been so inspired what they do because me and Kendall are kind of like that. We do everything in house, but like they do it on a grand level with like 20 people.
I was about to say they got more
Yeah,
people than us, though.
and their career has been really weird. You know, they got so popular and then it just went downhill from there. Um, but The Family, I think, is a perfect closeout to their career. It's really a Kevin Abstract album, but I just love what they did on it. The samples are so good. It's like really New York style influenced, you could tell. It's a very, very good project. And the last one that I want to mention, I have Saba as well, but you already talked about that. So I'm going to talk about one more people should listen to, I think. And that is this project is Bird Songs Volume 3 by Baird. Now, he's a very unknown artist. I found him through Brockhampton, actually. He did a lot of the production on Brockhampton's album, Roadrunner, and he produced a lot, and he has a feature on there as well. But I found him through them, and I just went back and listened to all his projects, and he just released this project this year. It's like a little 7 song EP. If there's one song anybody I would recommend them listen to is Out of My Mind 2, and it's the outro track on this album, and it's so sonically beautiful and like really impactful, and it's one of my favorite songs of the year for sure.
Very different lists here.
Very different, but that's good. You know,
I was about to say you don't want two of the same. I mean, like we were saying earlier in a previous episode, we're a lot alike, but I don't think you want to hear the same list
no,
twice.
yeah, yeah,
So I mean,
yeah. Oh, and quickly, I would also like shout out Action Bronson. He came out with one. He comes out with a new project every year, but it sounds very similar. But I just love Action Bronson, so shout out Bronson. With all that being said, my number one, my number one,
I need to hear this.
Mr. Morale and the Big
Okay,
Steppers, and it's
yeah,
not even close to me. I mean, look, I already have it on vinyl, but
yeah, bro's a vinyl hog. He will wait until the artist announces it on their Instagram story. I've already ordered 3,000 copies of special edition.
I'm not
This
that
shirt.
bad. I'm not that bad, bro. But yeah, I am a merch fiend. I mean, look, I got Mac Miller merch
I'm not
on.
that bad, but yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, what can I say about this album? Like he was saying, a lot of people really didn't like it. I noticed
Don't know why.
when it came out, everybody it's just Twitter probably, but everybody on Twitter was just like, "This is-" and it's like, no, it's not. This album to me is like one you kind of have to sit with and like really understand and listen. It's like a private listen. He's got some hype songs and stuff, but it's like one he's really connecting, And it's his most personal record. I don't think it's his best record. It's up there for me though. It's probably top 3, I would say, for me right now out of his
Man.
albums. Ever since I listened to it, man, it's just the more I listen, the more I get out of it. And that's what I want out of an album. I want to find new things with each listen. United in Grief, opening track.
Yeah.
I think that is the best opening track in the last 10 years. No questions from my side. I can't think of one that even
That is a bold statement. I just want to say
I'm putting it
that
out
you might
there.
have
I'm putting it out there.
you might get hate mail.
But man, this album is just so important and impactful with like songs like Mother I Sober. Man, it's just Father Time. I relate deeply to Father Time. Um Auntie Diary, Say What You Will. Very potent track. Very potent. And this album's just like very personal from the sonics to his storytelling. Like it's just very deep, man, and I don't think anything came close to it this year. Best project of the year. And with Kendrick, man, it's just like we're talking about rollouts, yes, but with Kendrick, he doesn't need that. He doesn't need these spectacles to sell his sound. He could be away for 5 years. He just can't. Then he comes back with the Heart Part 5, best song of the
And
year.
I'd argue that is his rollout style. Silence, single, release.
That
Because he like
yes, yeah.
that's his method usually every time. And when you hear the heart drop, aside from number 4, but every time you see those singles titled The Heart,
Mm-hmm.
every time those drops, you know what you're in for. We've seen his hair grow out, like you said, Ali, I'm gonna start growing my hair out in these hoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
His
yeah,
hair was growing out.
yeah.
Uh, again, I had it as number 3 on my list, but only because this isn't, again, great album for Kendrick, probably one of my favorites. But and I think this is why some people hate it, but I just took points off for it. As long as we have been waiting for this album, it kind of didn't live up to the hype. Again, one of his best albums for me on the list because I understood where it was coming from, what everything meant to him. And again, like Matthew was saying, it's definitely not just a single listen thing, and it's not just oh, I'm gonna just listen to this out loud. You need to be in the right state of
Got to
mind.
sit with it.
And another thing is, it's just there were so many rumors. It's kind of like how like we were talking about in a previous episode, people prolong stuff. The
Mm-hmm.
hype builds up around it, and you'll never be able to live up to the hype. I think that's just what it came down to with this album, like in terms of reception. People are like, oh, he had rock influences. I mean, he kind of did with the shouting and
Yeah,
yelling,
like
but
on Crown, you
uh,
could definitely see the rock influences.
Yeah, but it's not what people like I said, I think what people expect when they heard rock influences is what Kenny Mason dropped.
Yeah, yeah,
They didn't
yeah.
expect a deeply personal like this album, you could tell was therapeutic. Looking at the source material, everything he was talking about, it was therapeutic. But that's Kendrick. And then I guess because people look to him as like this figure in the black community, he felt like in the Heart Part 5, he felt he had to, tackle a lot of subjects. Uh, you know, I think there just comes with, like I guess you can look at the song Crown. A lot of pressure comes with being number one, and this song was like, or this album was like, I'm not as great as you think I am, Savior.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at the
Yeah.
lyrics. Like I hate to start quoting this thing like the Bible, but when you start and look at what he released, it's like the album to me just came off as like I can't live up to the pressure everybody puts on me. I'm not perfect. I'm not who you think I am. And you could argue, you know, I always say these people are on the same level, Kendrick and J. Cole. J. Cole's album KOD, kind of the same material there.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Like,
not it's there's a difference. I think there is a
there's a different
difference.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a different perspective, but like usually these like when I listen to these guys, I usually go back and forth with them because they're usually on the same page, just from a different perspective. And again, I'm doing exactly what he doesn't want, putting him on a pedestal. But arguably, he's one of the best storytellers, in my opinion. He's one of the best MCs, content wise. You can argue flow and style. You might not like it, might not be for you. Because I remember when swimming pools first came out, nobody in my family liked it. I fucked with it immediately.
Crazy. That's
I
insane.
just could see the potential. I could just see the potential in where he was gonna go.
Yeah, man. Kendrick,
Uh,
he just really showed off with his album, and he's in my book already an all-time great. He's up there with anybody. And for me personally, he's probably gonna go down as the greatest. He's so good. Like he could do every single genre and flow. Like he could take your flow but do it 10 times better. He can make it sound better. He's so talented with the way he fits in his lyrics with the music. He's always on it. And putting him and J. Cole together, I get. J. Cole is a crazy talented lyricist and storyteller. I relate to J. Cole more with his storytelling. It's so vivid, J. Cole's storytelling is, but overall Kendrick is better to me by a good bit. I don't think J. Cole has put out one album to compete with a Kendrick album. J. Cole has great albums. 2014 Forest Hills Drive, For Your Eyes Only. Those are amazing albums. He's definitely put out songs.
I
Songs.
just want to say this is funny. If you had known us in high school, the flop this man just did. There was getting on my ass for saying the 2014 wasn't as good as the Pimple Butterfly.
Well, yeah,
I'm just
so
I'm just glad it came out your mouth.
no, yeah, because I J. Cole has been my favorite rapper for quite some time. But I think Kendrick is the better. And like the more I listen to him and the older I get, listening to Kendrick's experiences I start to relate to. And I think he's just better. There's some J. Cole songs, yeah, they could go head to head, but J. Cole always has a misses on his albums, and Kendrick, man, is he's on a whole different level. I don't the importance of like this his when Kendrick drops is so important to the culture, man. It's just
Who are you and what have you done with Matthew?
I'm maturing. That's who I am, and yeah. But like I said, Kendrick, he went away. He goes away for 4 years at a time, whatever. But he always comes back with something better. And I mean, not always better, but you know what I mean. Like he's always improving something. And he just comes back and drops the Heart Part 5, which I believe is also the best song of the year. Yeah, I'm just dropping all my takes.
Yeah, I mean again, I can't think of nothing at the moment besides Denzel Curry, but
Yeah, yeah.
that's you're gonna get a lot of hate mail for this episode, buddy.
I
Just be
don't think
prepared.
so. I don't
And
think so.
also just know that it was Matthew saying that. I didn't say none of these
Yeah,
crazy takes,
yeah, but
man.
Kendall, he didn't even put Jid on the album, and he put Kanye at one. Oh my god.
Yeah, Kanye at one. We know why. We know why. He made graduation though.
Gotta forgive him. Gotta forgive him.
Oh
Man,
man.
well, yeah. Those are our top 10 lists of the year, projects of the year. Please let us know what you thought about them. Be kind, be kind. So we're gonna go into the segment and we're gonna talk about 5 artists that we think are on the rise from 2022.
This is just artists on the rise that you should look out for.
Yeah, it's like it's like success wise, but also like growth and artistry.
I will say mine is just curated specifically from like what I've seen more of this person. Like if I've seen this person get play on TikTok, if I've seen this person, go from nobody to, not a superstar overnight because that just doesn't happen anymore. You get your little 5 seconds of fame and that's it now. But you know what I'm saying? If you went from no fans to like a million, that type of deal.
Yeah, yeah.
So my number five is Oxlade, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but I want to say he's a Nigerian artist. He had a song on a Colors. It was on a Colors concert, but it was just a single that he was doing, and I want to get this. Yeah, so it's Kulo Sai. So it's Kulosa, and those are spaced out. So Kulo Sai. It sounds like he's saying closer or something like that, but it's I want to say he's Nigerian. But the song was so good, it took over TikTok for like a solid month. And then he got a feature with Camilo. I can't say her name right,
Cabello,
but yeah, that woman.
Camillo Cabello.
So I mean, that right there should tell you. I hope he has staying power. He definitely has star power because the both music videos were great. The song was great. Like I said, I'm kind of biased here though. One, it was my TikTok feed that I seen it on, and then I looked at the colors thing. But I seen a bunch of TikTok dances based on that.
So many.
And then
Yeah.
two, I grew up on dance hall Nigerian stuff like that, just like uh basically music that was like not foreign music. I'll say it like that because I grew up African reggaeton, reggae, all this stuff. So I'm out there culturally as far as music goes.
Yeah. Well, good pick. Good pick. My number five is he's already a mainstream artist, but I feel like with this last album, he just shot himself into a new trajectory, which is JID. I think a lot of people kind of knew him only because of j.cole, but like I have seen so many people talk about his last album. Um, and yeah, man, I really think that this is the start of his greatness. Like he's in that era of the next generation of top artists, and I'm really excited to see what he could do.
Number four, I hope I'm pronouncing this name right too. Kafune. You know the song they had though. It was all over TikTok as well. They even made a sped up, a slow down version. But Tech It
Hmm.
song was everywhere. And then they did an animated music video with the thing. Definitely want to see and hear more from them. I know they were touring after that song took off, so that was crazy. But like I said, this they literally fit the definition. They took over overnight. Again, they didn't like become superstars, but everybody knew their fucking name. They got a golden record. They released several versions of the song, and they got popular, and they definitely got more eyes on their stuff. So they're on the rise. So definitely check them out.
That's a really good pick. I've heard them on my For You page as well. And with a lot of these TikTok people we find, it's like hard to say if they'll stay around or it was just that one song, you know, because people hear it and then they just want more of that same kind of song. All right, but good pick. My number four is also in my top 10 is Quedeca. And he's on the rise for me in artistry rise. Like I said, he was just known to everybody as a YouTuber, a YouTube person that does music or cool production on the side. But this really shot him into like, a whole new realm of like viewership because I hear like like serious music reviewers are talking about him now and taking him serious. Like Fantano, I think Fantano gave him a 7. So it's something really cool to witness because I've watched him on YouTube before. Never cared for him, but like I said, his artistry is it's really good.
Right. Well, number three, again, this shouldn't be a surprise, but it's another TikTok artist. Pink Pantheress. I've been watching her for like a year. I've heard her music all over TikTok. Like it started off as like little trends and stuff like that, and then she started releasing like full on songs. She had a song with Sam Gallantry. I hope I pronounced his last name right. But and then I think an album recently, or at least a mixtape. But she's definitely going places.
Oh yeah.
Great artist overall.
Hmm.
Uh, I really can't compare her to anybody just because I don't, that's usually not what I listen to. But she definitely has a distinct style, and I'd love to see more. I haven't seen her actually perform though. I will say that. So maybe, and I know she does tours and concerts at least for now, but
You didn't
I
see
haven't seen her
those
perform.
clips?
So that's what I'm saying. Though. I haven't seen anything noteworthy.
No,
She's
yeah,
just
yeah.
standing. She's just standing most of the
Well, a
time.
lot of people were kind of dissing her because her songs are so short. So her concerts, people were joking, were only like 20 minutes.
That
But
may be the case, but they're still paying for the
but
concert. So
since then, she's had albums and she's very popular. There's been a video going around that she's probably doing a collab with Ice Spice. Funny enough,
yeah,
yeah.
I think I've seen that floating around. And then there was somebody else. Who was it? He had a concert in the Boiler Room. I know the guy. He's a Haitian artist. I should know this guy's name. Oh, K Tronada. God dang. I seen something on their Instagram, so I hope they're collabing. I hope they just weren't in the
I
same
hope
place,
so
same time
because
deal.
their sound works really good and the dance break genre, like the fast drums and like that's really taken off on TikTok this past year. Good pick. I didn't even think about her. That's on me. But my number three is Redville. He has just blown
Oh,
up. Like he's gone crazy, and he got his acclaim originally. I found him on TikTok, but he got his acclaim because he came out with the album. I'm blanking on the name right now, so apologize for that. But he, when he released it, he was only 17, and he made it while he was in high school, and it was getting acclaim from like celebrities, like Tyler the Creator shouted him out on his Instagram, and ever since then he's been going up, and everybody's been collabing with him. Like he just did a song. Uh, Denzel Curry did a song with him, a remix of his song. So yeah, Redville, man. I'm very impressed from what I've heard, and he's a really good producer as well.
great segue. Number two on my list here is Denzel Curry. I know the man just took a L. I know that. But like I said, this has the potential to be another Kendrick moment. And I just hope he learns from this experience and just says, stop, trying to appeal to the masses and just go what his fan base wants. But like in terms of potential, he's already there because this his album was album of the year, at least on my list. And again, I know I put Kanye, but I'm talking about that was like album
Yeah, roll
project. You
out
had
and
to
everything.
combine
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
rollout. But album of the year, no contest for me. No
Yeah, and
contest.
this that album really put him in a different bracket. I noticed people that's never even listened to Denzel has started paying attention to him. He did the Grammys, man. They don't matter though. It's all good. It's all good. My number two is actually Smino. So, uh, I would tell people about Smino, and they were like, "Who the hell are you talking about?" And this has been years. Like after this album, it's just he's gained so much popularity, and I see he's starting to trend on my TikTok feed now, and I've never seen that before. Like, most people didn't know of Smino, but ever since he did that song with J.Cole, 90 Proof, he's just been got shot up, and a lot of people started paying attention to him after this album.
All right, so my number one is a tie, and I mentioned these two before, but Kodak Black slash 21 Savage.
Okay.
I love the fact that they're being not mentored necessarily because it's not like they're taking them. These two people are taking them to their record labels, but they're giving them more of a not fan base, but they're giving them more exposure and stuff like that. Not that these two people needed it, but just to put them on that same pedestal, it's kind of like like I said, they're like their disciples right now. Because like it'd be one thing if it happened once or twice, but I want to say it's at least happened 3 or 4 times for both of these artists. Like Kendrick has gotten Kodak Black on a lot of his stuff recently. Uh, J.Cole has gotten 21 Savage on a bunch of stuff recently. Like, or at least that last year when I say recently. But like again, it wasn't just like a 1 or 2 time occurrence. So I definitely got to put them in the spotlight there, artists on the rise. And I keep saying that was mainly because I counted these two out when they first appeared on the scene. Like I'm not listening to this. I don't like any of them. The only XXL artist I liked during that era was probably Denzel
Yeah.
and Lil Uzi.
Wasn't a designer actually on there too?
Yeah, but he only had a single that I
Panda,
liked,
Panda.
so
Yeah, you was this guy was obsessed with Panda, dude.
it was great. But
Timmy
like
Timmy
I said,
Turner.
I seriously underestimated these two artists, and they definitely deserve a spot on this artist on the rise list.
Yeah, that's a good pull. Yeah, and it's cool to see Kendrick and J. Cole really notice these people that maybe not everybody would pay attention to. It's cool for them to take them under their wings, especially J. Cole mostly. You know, has always been with 21, but what Kendrick did on Mr. Morale and bringing Kodak in kind of as like a main narrator was very cool. But my number one, that was your number one, correct?
Right.
My number one artist on the rise with the most potential, Hemlock Springs, and Kendall knows her very well.
I knew it was
Yeah,
coming. I
she.
didn't put her on my list because I knew you were gonna put her.
I thought you had her too. I thought she was your
No,
one.
I knew.
Well, me and him both found her kind of. He's been supporting her forever, and I found her the same way through TikTok, and she just had her song go crazy viral. Girlfriend. It's just a breath of fresh air. It's 80s inspired, very synth heavy. And she produced that one actually. And
Yeah, she as far as I know, she produces all her own,
well now
which is amazing.
she's number one on the rise for me because she's going crazy. She's having meetings with record labels and videos done, and she's just it's inspiring to see because she's like a small town girl too, kind of like we are, and she's doing everything by herself. So she's definitely
Right.
my number one artist on the rise because I think she has the potential to stay around because she just came out with another song, Stranger
Yeah.
Danger. It's
She
another
keeps
one,
proving her
bro. It's another
worth.
one.
I'm honestly jealous at the amount that she can just crank out like that, like it's fucking
So
nothing.
good.
And
And
then the fact that she shows her I wouldn't say shows her work, but she shows how she's working on the songs, how she gets to where she gets, and it's just like crazy. And I think she's in college while she's doing this, so her work
yeah,
ethic is
she
just
just graduated, I
crazy.
think. It's insane. It's
Okay.
for something crazy too, right? Like nursing. It's like very demanding
I don't
classes.
yeah, I don't wanna say because I don't know for
I'm not
sure.
sure, but it was something like where her school is very demanding, but it's really like inspiring to go on TikTok and see her like thriving, even after girlfriend, because people she's just got a really cult following almost now. Like we're
Yeah.
amazed with her talent. And what's really cool about her is she's super like normal, like a normal person. Like, you know, she's not like the star, but she is in her own right. But
Hi, how are you?
yeah, she is hilarious and it's just awesome to see. And I'm definitely gonna be looking out for her this coming year.
And then this is why I saved the honorable mentions for last. It's just because like those definitely I couldn't break them up with an honorable mention. Like those were like the top 5 on my list. But my honorable mention would definitely be Carter Ace. He's been on there for a while. I'd
That
argue
guy's
he was
pretty
one of the
cool.
most influential TikTok artists that I've seen. But again, had a job at Domino's. Again, producing and writing all this himself. And then he's getting like interviews and like that, full on music videos. He kind of reminds me of Toby Lou when I first found Toby
Yes,
Lou,
yeah.
but
Carter Ace is very talented, man.
phenomenal.
It's a shame though to see that he's kind of like lost a good bit of following for some reason on TikTok. His viewership has dipped tremendously, but he's still doing well for himself. I'm pretty sure he might be signed to a label, and he's doing
I believe
tours.
so.
He's doing tours, so yeah, that's a great shout out. I would like to mention Aaron May. I don't know if you've heard of him. But his project was so close to my top 10. I actually had him in my top 10, but I took him out. His project No Recognition, and it came up through TikTok as well. What?
You almost took him out and gave him further no recognition.
Well, that's why I'm shouting him out cuz like he was in there, but then I decided, this album's better. This project's better. But man, Aaron's got so much potential, and he's kind of popping off, kind of like Redville was. Like his style is very similar. Um, very good production, and overall, I'm just very impressed with him.
All right, so I'm gonna just reread my list here before we go to the recommendations. So I had number 5 for artists on the rise, Oxlade. Number 4, Kafune. Number 3, Pink Panthers. 2, Denzel Curry. And number 1 with a tie for Kodak Black and 21 Savage, with an honorable mention of Carter Ace. And my recommendation for you No surprise here if you haven't already. Kodak Black back for everything.
Yes, I'm actually excited that you did that because I've never heard that. And every time I hear a snippet of his music like on Atlanta, it's just so catchy.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this: not all of them are like that, but like if you really sit down and listen, I wouldn't say listen to this out loud on a speaker, especially given your your home environment is a little different than mine. But if you sit down and listen to the subject that he's talking about, is really great.
Cool, man.
So
That's great. All right, so I guess I'll go back over my artists on the rides as well. So, number 5, I had JID. Number 4, I had Quedeca. 3, I had Redville. At 2, I had Smino. And number 1, Hemlock Springs. And I had an honorable mention of Aaron May. With my recommendation of I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, Quedeca.
I knew it. I
Now
knew it.
I now me knowing Kendall, I know he's not really gonna probably enjoy this just because he doesn't like. I don't know. It's weird, but he gave me hope when he said he liked that artist that was very ethereal, and this
Ravina.
yeah. Yeah. But if you just
Hold on. How do you spell his name? Because I'm searching him now. How do you spell that name?
Quadeca.
My God.
This is an
Yeah,
app.
okay, I did listen to one of his songs you
Yeah,
showed
I
me. I
sent it
forget.
to you, and you was like, "Ah, it's all right." But that's how Kendall is. Every time I send him something, he's like, "Eh." But I think
He sends me crazy shit,
if
to
you,
be
if
fair.
you if you listen, if you just listen to this, you gotta listen to it fully through, no ads, no skips. Like it's just gotta. It's a story, so you kind of have to take it all in, and it's like a movie. It's very good. If it's better for you, I would recommend watching the short film on YouTube because it's very easy and like something to look at.
He ain't beating Goku though.
But there's just like so much to this album, and it's just very impressive. So that's my recommendation for you, Quadeca. I didn't mean to haunt you.
Oh my God.
Well, I think that's probably.
That's another episode wrapped.
Yeah, that's another episode. Thank you everybody for tuning in. If you listened, I know we kind of rambled, but we are very passionate about music, so we have a lot to say. So yeah, thank you for
Right.
tuning in. Um, be sure to leave us a like on this or review. It really helps people find our podcast on Apple Music and Spotify. And be sure to follow us also on social media at Media Buffet Pod. You have
Yeah,
anything?
for
You
all
have
the
anything to
socials.
add, sir?
Nah, like I said, also, I guess in terms of interaction, if you guys want to show us your top 10
Yes, yes,
lists,
definitely.
yeah, send those to us. I really like to hear new music, so I'd love to see your top 10 music. But you could, by all means, send me top 10 anime games or something like that, like we've previously talked about genres and no books.
Yeah,
I don't read.
we're not book readers. Sorry.
I'm not gonna read, buddy. Not unless it's manga or comic books. But again, music, please. Even if it's your music, please. We actually might be working on something soon as like a playlist. It just depends. 'Cause again, we are musicians. But if you want to get on a playlist or something like that, send us your music if you make any.
Yes.
Uh, but yeah, send us stuff.
Yeah,
Fan art even.
yeah, that hey, why not? And if we get enough people leaves their recommendations or top 10, we can make a whole episode of just roasting your top 10 and saying why it's wrong or
You're wrong. Here's why.
this
It's
is
not
number
great. It's
1.
not phenomenal. My taste is superior. You're just trash, kid. But no. So we won't roast you too
No,
bad.
no. I mean, we roast each other more. We probably won't roast a stranger too much, but we'll see.
Maybe.
Maybe. But
No, we're just around.
yeah. But all right, that concludes this episode. On the next podcast, we're going to continue with this format, and we're going to be giving you our favorite TV shows and movies of 2022. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for tuning in.